there and welcome back to another video. So today we're back here for something a little bit different, as you can see. But just before we get into it, I've just got to let you know that this video is presented by EA Game Changers, and thank you to them for making this video possible. So the other day, the Simgurus actually held a Q&A session where us Game Changers for The Sims could actually go ahead and ask any questions we wanted about the new pack, The Sims 4 Discover University expansion. They went ahead and answered them, and now we can actually share all that information with you now. So that's what we're going to do here today. Now, as you know from my trailer analysis type of videos and things like that, I try to give you things in the shortest amount of time possible and things straight to the point, so I'm not going to try and ramble on too much and just kind of get straight into it. And also just another note, these questions are not just by me, these are questions by loads of different people from the community, so just in case you're wondering by that, credit to the other Game Changers for making this possible really, because it wasn't me who asked these questions. So the first question is, how long is a university degree course? A Sim earns a degree after passing 12 university classes. They can take between 1 and 4 classes each term, and takes between 3 and 12 terms to earn a degree, depending on how many courses the Sim enrolls on in each term. Will the young adult age normally when in uni? Yes, all Sims will age normally when enrolled in university. Can you flunk a semester and have to redo it? You can fail individual classes and need to retake them. You can also do poorly enough across all the classes that your Sim may face academic probation or suspension. And that's kind of bad because there is actually another question coming up later regarding how you actually pay for uni, so if that actually happens, that's not going to work out too well, and we'll get onto that a little bit later. Do you have to do a degree in one go, or can you take a break and do another semester after? Sims can take as long as they want, but if they have any scholarships, those will be lost. Can the digital art table be used for art assignments? And although it can be used for art skills, they cannot be used for any direct assignments. This next question is really great because I think it's going to be really nice actually for gameplay, with kind of just keeping things really open for players and what they want to do. So must you be a full-time student, or can you just go part-time? So the game doesn't classify it as full or part-time, but the amount of classes you can take can make it feel more like full or part-time. So another thing we found out recently was that lectures and classes were going to be rabbit holes, which I know a lot of people were disappointed about, but we're wondering about if there are going to be kind of active workshops, labs or group projects for you to actually get involved with, and actually there isn't going to be any of those, but they will be able to do other things to help them, like homework and do papers, presentations and study. And there's also university organisations that have events like for working on robotics or studying together in the common areas. So you may have heard, but there is actually 2 different types of degrees, distinguished and also normal ones, and there is also another question about this further on, explaining how you actually do a distinguished degree, so if you want to learn more about that then stay tuned. But the difference is that distinguished degrees require more skill and higher school grades to be accepted into them, and then you have greater career rewards afterwards. And speaking of careers, we do have a few questions about that coming up as well, so stay tuned if you're interested about learning about the career aspects of what's after university. Can you take classes or attend events at the university as a non-student? I know Sims will not be able to do that because it is restricted. They will be able to access the buildings, but they can't actually participate in the events. As you know, robots are coming with a pack as well, and this question asks a little bit more about that. So will a robot take up a household slot, or does it work like a butler or nanny, which doesn't? And yes, they will take up a place in the household, and as you know, there is a maximum of 8 Sims you can have in your household. Can families live on campus? Because as you remember from one of the trailers, there was a shot of a parent with a toddler, and they cannot live in university housing, but you can make a residential lot within the new world if you want your Sims to live there. And it's a similar situation with pets as well. You'll have to make a residential lot for them to be able to live with you on campus. So this next question asks about the process of how Sims apply for university. So they can actually start applying for universities a week before they age up into a young adult, which, as you may know, is the minimum age that your Sims can go to university at. The application goes to both the universities, and then you can choose which university and which degree to pursue once your Sim receives an acceptance letter, and they'll need to apply before they can enroll in actual university classes, and may be offered scholarships they didn't apply for if they're accepted into enough distinguished degrees. And if you want to learn more about what scholarships are and the requirements for them, then there is actually another question about that later on as well, so stay tuned if you want to learn more about that. And as some of you will be wanting to know, robots can woohoo in the showers, but remember it is water mixed with robots, which isn't really a good mix, so you need to be careful with that. So these next couple of questions are all about careers. So this first one is about, are there any locked careers behind the degrees? And there isn't. Now there are new careers coming, but none are locked. Do specific degrees boost certain careers, or just a degree boost all careers? And the answer to that is that each degree gives boosts to specific higher level career branches. There are 3 new careers coming with the new pack, which are engineering, education and law, which work in combination with the degrees. But the old careers within the game are also taken into account so that they also have some use in this as well. Are there sororities or fraternities? I know there isn't, but you know, that is a possibility that you could build them yourself as well and kind of just have that storyline and gameplay with yourself. Will Sims gain an extra trait slot when graduating like they did in The Sims 3? I know they won't. The degrees are actually a reward trait, and that's how they're actually kind of given to the Sims. Multiple Sims can actually attend university from the same household. They'll enroll separately, but then you can play them at the same time once they've signed up for the classes. As you would have saw from the trailers, there were bikes within the new world, and that is actually just with the new world. It isn't something coming with the pack. You will have to buy the pack to have the new bikes. So I know that'll be kind of disappointing for some of you, but you know, to kind of counteract that, the bikes can be ridden anywhere, which is really great, just making sure that there is enough space. There are some rules in terms of routing for the bikes though, but hopefully within gameplay that won't be too much of a problem. And when you're not using your bike, it will go into your inventory, but similar to the speedboats from I'm Living, you can just drag them out and put them into live mode as well, which is great. You can have a full-time job whilst you're at university, but that does limit how much freedom you have when it comes to deciding on what times you want to choose your classes to be at. There is a new library coming with the world as well, and it doesn't matter which university campus you're at, all students will use that. So as we've seen from before, if you have certain skills or experience in certain things, it can help you getting into certain degrees. So for example here, if you have high programming skills, it can help you with getting into degree programs such as the computer science one. But as you know, with a programming skill in game, there is an aspect of that like hacking, but with those sort of very specific aspects of that skill, you can't actually sort of hack into the scholarships, which would have actually made for really interesting gameplay. And this next question I have seen a lot over social media. I know a lot of you have been asking this, and the answer is no. Kids and toddlers cannot use bikes. But to make up for that, bikes can be used in all the worlds, which is really great. So even if you want to pedal around in the sands of Solani, which I would imagine would be pretty difficult, but you know, if you want to do that, then you can. There are 2 new lot traits coming with the pack. One is Study Spot, which helps your sim gain skills faster, and the other one is University Student Hangout, which offers drinks and foods at a cheaper price. Sims can get pregnant whilst at university, but if you're living within the university housing, you will be encouraged to move somewhere that can better care for the child, but you won't be kicked out of your university classes. All classes will have homework, and it works similar to how it already works in game with high school, and then they'll have a final requirement to complete, which is like a final exam, which is taken within the class, or a paper done on the computer, or a presentation, which is a physical object that the Sims will need to use to create one. There is a new aspiration, which is the academic one, and that revolves around attending university and then getting a career afterwards. You can place any types of lots in the new world that you want to, which is really great for freedom. So for example, there isn't a new gym with the world, so if you wanted to put one of those in, then you could do that. So if you're living within university housing, you will have roommates, which are automatically added when your sim moves in. If your sims are living in residential lots, then they can actually place ads for roommates to live with them. After the ad has been placed, roommates will show up at the house, and then the player can decide if they want to accept them or not. University housing is actually a new venue type, and there's also 4 new penthouse style lots as well, which function like the regular lots which penthouses do, so you can totally demolish the exterior walls as well on the very top floor of the building. And anyone who's young adult or older can attend university whenever they like to after they've been accepted, and you can live in the new world without going to the school as well. As you may have seen from the trailer and some of the screenshots, we're all actually going to be getting drones within the new pack as well. These are a little bit different to the Get Famous ones. Within this pack, Sims can craft utility bots and RC quadcopters at the robotics workstation, and these are toys that Sims can fly around and play with, and the utility bots are robots that can help Sims around the house with cleaning, gardening, repairing objects, playing music, and serving food at parties. So it kind of is like a little butler in a way, I guess. And the limit for roommates is 10 Sims, including pets per household. Robotics can be learned outside of university, as it is a skill available to teens and older, and they can learn the skill by reading books or using the robotics workstation. Can you do more than 1 degree at the same time? And no, you can't. You can only do 1 at a given time. And the elevators used in the university lots work the same as the ones that came with City Living, so if you know how those work, like how you can place them in penthouse slots as well. There are 4 new pre-made households coming within the new world, and actually a pre-made ghost as well that floats around the University of Bridgester, which is going to be really interesting. If you send one sim from a multiple sim household to uni, there are a few options in terms of what happens, so you can choose to have that sim stay at home, or move to a new lot, or even move to university housing. There are 2 new skill books which are for research and debate and the robot skill. There isn't any only online versions of getting a degree. You have to attend the classroom buildings, but you can take classes slowly and do things at home to help improve your skills. So the randomly generated roommates that will be with your sims aren't just random at all actually, they do have some special personality quirks which I find really interesting, and that's going to make for some really interesting gameplay as well. There isn't any new radio stations with the pack, but the hip hop station from Get Famous has been now made available for all players as it's now in the base game. Teens have a few ways to prepare for university. They can increase their skills and apply for scholarships. They can also apply at university a bit early, which allows them to enroll right away when they become a young adult. There are no new TV channels and there's no new hidden neighbourhoods within the world. There is a new cafeteria station with the pack which can be found within the student commons, and with this students can eat for free. They'll only operate at certain times of the day, so you have to pay attention so you don't miss your meals, and you can actually place the stations on your home lot and then hire staff for them like you can do with market stalls. So as I mentioned at the start about flunking up your classes and stuff, you wouldn't really want to be doing that if you pay for university as a lump sum in the beginning. As you can see here, there is actually loans available, which is great. Now, I know some of you be wondering if loans are available as an actual kind of loan system within games, and at this point there is actually only student loans available for the game, so it's only with this pack for the university system. And if you do take out a loan, you don't have any payments until you actually finish your degree, but you can start paying off if you want to whilst you're in university. And as you may have saw from one of the screens within the gameplay trailer, there was actually some very tall columns within that, and there is actually new functionality for multi-story columns coming within the patch before the expansion is released. Time progresses like normal when sims are at university, but there are options to change this within the settings. There isn't any limit to the amount of debt that you can collect, and loans are saved per sim, but when it comes to paying the loans, it will come from the household funds. And a little bit more about how scholarships work and the requirements for them. So there are several different types of scholarships. There's some for being a strong applicant, and those that get a chance to win them, and some get them awarded based on things like household funds and lot value, so those with less money will be able to apply and more likely to win. Sims with particular skills can be an advantage, so if you're applying for something which is sports related, having fitness skills can be an advantage for that. And the inspiration behind the new world is actually the UK and Europe, so I did actually mention this when I did actually get those early access screenshots and renders a little while ago, and I mentioned how the world reminded me of Get Together and how that world, Windenburg, is inspired by Europe as well, and the similarities between them, and that kind of proves that I was right actually. There are actually new open street swimming areas within the new neighbourhoods, and it's actually available in all 3 of them as well. So if you don't know what this means, it's basically how ocean swimming works, where you don't need to travel to a specific lot to use swimming like a pool, you can just do it free in the world. We can't actually have full kitchens within university housing because of fire hazards, but you can use fridges and mini fridges and microwaves and other kitchen items like that. There is the debate club, which is exclusive to the University of Bridgester, and the robotics club, which is exclusive to Foxbury Institute. And once you get onto the university housing lot, once you're with the other roommates, to clean your dorm room you actually just claim a bed and you can just lock your door. As I mentioned before, the loan system within the game coming with the pack is only available as student loans, but I think the wording within this answer kind of keeps it open to the possibility of that coming in the future, which I think would be really great. Can sims end up with a degree when you create a sim with the story mode in Create a Sim? I know you can't, you can only get a degree through actual gameplay. Are there any special interactions between members of the sports teams and the rivals? Students can hang banners on the university arenas to support the team, or you can actually visit the other universities' arenas and play pranks on them. There are new recipes in terms of quick meals in the new mini fridge, and there's even new delivery pizzas as well, because as you know there's only been a few of those for quite a long time in the game, and there's also lots of new foods to order at food stalls within the campus. There's lots of different colour variants of the mini fridge, some more plain ones and some which are more personalised. There are different seasonal objects that rotate within the streets in the new neighbourhoods, such as skating rinks and food halls that were seen in previous worlds. Sims working with an NPC painting model don't have the option to change the garment, and there's only one neutral outfit. If your sim has a degree and wants to go back for a distinguished degree, they can then reapply to the universities a short time after their first application, and they'll have good chances of getting into that distinguished degree if they have better skills from when they last applied. As I mentioned before, degrees are stored as traits, so there is the ability to cheat this. So if you want to give pre-made sims degrees, then you can do that, or if you make machinimas or things like that and you want it for quickness, then you can do that as well. And that's all the questions I have. I really hope you found this useful. If there's any other questions that I kind of missed today, but if you have anything on your mind that you think I might be able to answer, then feel free to leave it below and I'll see what I can do. But remember, the other day was the live stream by the Sims team on November 8th, where they did show off the pack in its entirety, so there's lots of information there as well if you want to take a look at that. Once again, thanks to the Sims team and the EA Game Changer Network for making this video possible, and be sure to stay tuned for my early access Discover University content coming next week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!